Which vehicles have been ranked as the most unreliable for 2024? That's what we're going to find out. Welcome to Car Corner, where we help you, the consumer, master the process of car buying and car ownership. I'm going to share the least reliable vehicles that you can buy that received the lowest scores in the latest Consumer Reports reliability study. These are the vehicles that gave their owners the most amount of headaches and the ones that you should probably just avoid. And if you want to know which vehicles were the most reliable, I'll put a link to that video up in the corner. So let's get into this list, starting with the first vehicle that came in the number 10 spot, and that is the Volkswagen Jetta. The Jetta received a reliability score of only 25 points out of 100, ranking below average for reliability. The biggest problem areas with the Jetta include drivetrain issues, the climate system, the brakes, and the in-car electronics. Now this one came as no surprise to me. Volkswagens generally have spotty reliability here in North America, and the cost of repairs beyond the warranty period are typically higher than the average vehicle. Considering the Jetta has nothing really special going for it, it's just a generic compact car that's not as well made and more expensive to repair than the equivalent Mazda 3 or Honda Civic, you should just give this one a hard pass. And next we have the vehicle coming at the number 9 spot, which is the Jeep Grand Cherokee. The Grand Cherokee received a reliability score of only 23 points out of 100, ranking below average and making it the least reliable vehicle that Jeep makes. The problem areas include the drivetrain, the steering, the suspension, the in-car electronics, and general build quality issues. Now the Grand Cherokee is a very popular vehicle and many owners are very happy with them. But it seems that for every happy owner, you can find just as many unhappy ones that have had all kinds of headaches. Jeeps are known for a lot of things, but stellar reliability sure isn't one of them. And now moving on to the vehicle that came in the number 8 spot, and that is the Nissan Frontier. Now I have to admit, this one came as a pretty big surprise. The Frontier received a reliability score of only 23 out of 100. But looking at the data more carefully, however, it seems that in this case, the issues are only related to the build quality of the 2022 and 2023 model years, when the Frontier was completely redesigned. It is fairly common that when a manufacturer redesigns a vehicle, they will have some build quality issues for the first and maybe second model year. Luckily, the drivetrain and mechanical components seem to be very solid, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the Frontier jump up the list next year after having these early build quality kinks sorted out. In any case, let's move on to the next vehicle that came in the number 7 spot, and that is the Rivian R1T. In fact, both Rivian models received a fairly low score of only 23 out of 100, which is below average for reliability. Considering how new they are, I think this one does make sense. As mentioned, when a manufacturer introduces a brand new vehicle that has a lot of new technology, they tend to have a lot of issues at the beginning, and the buyer kind of becomes a quality tester and has to sort out all these issues through the warranty. So when you buy a completely new vehicle like this, you are taking a little bit of a risk. And next up, we have the vehicle that comes in the number 6 spot, and that is the Volvo XC60. The XC60, specifically the plug-in version, only received a score of 21 out of 100, ranking below average and the lowest ranked model in the Volvo lineup. Ever since Volvo fell under Chinese ownership and have rolled out their latest electrified lineup, their reliability has been very spotty. They certainly make very nice, safe vehicles, but you are taking a bit of a risk if you want to be free of headaches and own one for long-term ownership. And next up, the vehicle that came in number 5 is the Mercedes EQS. The EQS received a score of only 20 out of 100, ranking well below average for reliability. This is a relatively new model, and yet the quality issues have been ongoing. Mercedes is relatively new to electric vehicles, so I'd say this one is best to wait until they sort out all the issues. That is, if they're even able to. Mercedes seems to be one of the more troublesome European luxury brands when it comes to reliability, which is why the next vehicle that came in the number 4 spot is the Mercedes C-Class. The C-Class earned a pretty terrible score of only 19 points out of 100, making it the least reliable Mercedes of the entire study. Just about every area of this car is reported as being problematic, and the number of report issues went up when Mercedes introduced a redesigned C-Class for 2023. This is one of the least reliable luxury vehicles of the entire Consumer Report study, and I'd say just stay away from this one. And now getting into the top 3 least reliable vehicles of the entire study. But before getting into it, remember, if you enjoy and get value out of this video, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. So let's move on to the vehicle in the number 3 spot, and that is the Ford F-150 Hybrid. The F-150 Hybrid earned a poor score of only 19 points out of 100, ranking well below average and the least reliable Ford of the year. Shockingly, this is a slight improvement over the previous year when the Hybrid was actually the lowest ranked vehicle of the entire Consumer Reports reliability study. Most of the issues with the Hybrid are powertrain related, including engine electrical, drive system, and transmission related. And in case you're curious, the regular F-150 did score quite a bit better, but still well below average. And interestingly, the version of the F-150 that had the least number of issues was actually the Lightning, the all-electric F-150, so there you go. And now moving on to the vehicle in the number 2 spot, the runner-up for the least reliable vehicle of the entire year, we have the Volkswagen Taus. The Taus earned a very poor score of only 18 points out of 100, ranking well below average and the lowest ranked Volkswagen of the entire study. Not only is the Taus one of the least reliable vehicles, but it also has very low owner satisfaction ratings as well. Now, I've criticized the Taus many times in some of my other videos, and it's great to finally have some really solid data that validates my recommendation. And that recommendation remains to avoid the Taus if you want a small crossover SUV. And that brings us to the number 1 vehicle and the least reliable one of the entire year, and that vehicle is the Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid. The Pacifica Hybrid earned a dismal score of only 14 points out of 100, ranking well below average and the worst vehicle of the entire study. Basically, everything to do with the Pacifica's hybrid system, electronics, and the drivetrain are problematic. It is just not a well-made vehicle, and it never has been, despite being on sale without any major changes for a number of years now. And don't go thinking that the regular Pacifica model is a whole lot better, because it really isn't. Chrysler came at the very bottom of the reliability survey this year, so if you want a reliable minivan, anything besides the Pacifica would be a huge improvement. Now, there were some interesting trends that came from this reliability data. One is that certain brands did have a pattern of performing extremely poorly. The worst performing brands were Volkswagen and Mercedes-Benz. Both of these brands had every single model in their lineups ranking below average or well below average for reliability. Other brands that performed fairly poorly included Lincoln, Volvo, and every single brand within Stellantis and General Motors. Not a single one of these companies had a single model in their entire lineups that ranked above average for reliability, which is pretty disappointing to see. As for vehicle types, the 2 categories of vehicle that ranked as the absolute worst were electric vehicles and full-size pickup trucks. Both vehicle types had the highest number of problems. Every full-size truck available ranked below average or average for reliability. And electric vehicles were an issue as well. In fact, the only electric vehicle that ranked above average in the entire study was the Nissan Ariya. Every other EV ranked either average or below average, which just goes to show that they still have a lot of work to do. Now you're probably wondering, where are some of the other brands? Where is Land Rover, Jaguar, Fiat, Maserati, Alfa Romeo, and a few others? Well, unfortunately, Consumer Reports just did not have enough data to include these brands in the study, which, if they had, I'm pretty confident they would have come near the rock bottom. So there you have it. Let me know what you thought of these choices, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also check out my other videos by clicking these links over here. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, and if you need any additional car buying advice, recommendations, or help with getting a great deal on your next new car purchase, make sure to visit carhelpcan.com. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.